everybody, Jim Phillips here. Welcome to Java with Jim. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend a few minutes with me. I've got a topic I think you're going to be interested in today. Hopefully you're interested in all the topics that I bring forward, as I think you know that most of the topics that I bring forward are based on questions I've been asked by people I interact with in between these episodes of Java with Jim, or coaching clients will ask me something, or I could read something that just brings an idea to my mind, or maybe something I read I just want to elaborate on. And what I want to talk about today, just a second, is happiness. And of course, happiness is a topic that we read about all the time, we hear about, we think about, we question why we're not happy, we don't question when we're happy, we just experience happiness in that moment. When people are asked what do they want most out of life, the vast majority will say, I just want to be happy. They'll say they want happiness for their kids, happy for their family. That just tends to be what we gravitate towards when we consider life and what we want out of life. Very rarely do we talk about the accumulation of wealth. Do we talk about the possessions that we might have? It's about really how we want to experience life, and experience life from a place of happiness. And yet, when we ask people what would make you happy, it's typically attached to something. It could be anything. And yet, I would ask you this question, and I want you to think about this as you hear these words. And that is, have you ever been happy? Have you ever experienced happiness without having the thing that you say you need to experience happiness? And of course, all of us can say yes, of course we have. We wouldn't be looking for happiness if we had not had the experience of happiness. I've mentioned before in another episode of Java with Jim, you cannot long for something for which you have not had the experience. So if you long for happiness, you've been happy. You've experienced happiness. You are happiness. So it's not so much that we're trying to create happiness as it is with so many things. It's about allowing happiness, the happiness that resides within us, to be experienced and expressed in this world. So when you consider that when I say we, I'm talking about humanity in general, and I'm not suggesting, excuse me, I'm not suggesting that it's all of us, because there are many, many people on this planet that are happy people. They don't associate their happiness being attached to any one particular thing, any one particular person. They don't attach it to dogma. They don't attach it to anything. In fact, their happiness is experienced as a result of non-attachment to anything, because they're not saying that I will only be happy, or I can only experience happiness when I have this certain thing in my life. And of course, we can look at organized religion, we can look at politics, we can look at friendships, we can look at everything that we have as a part of this lived experience in human form, and we have attachments throughout all of it. We are told that if we don't follow certain rules, then we're not going to get whatever it is we desire to have. And maybe we've attached our happiness to that desire. Maybe there is a title that you're after in your career, in your whatever organization you might belong to, and that you'll say, I'll be happy when I achieve whatever that is. And so we fight for that. We continuously do what we believe we need to do to get there. Typically, we're doing what other people have told us we need to do to get there, without recognizing that we're not doing what it is we truly want to do. We're not doing what brings us the greatest amount of joy, what brings us the opportunity to experience and express the happiness that already resides within us. And I'll just get back to that question. When you experienced happiness, when you were not experiencing, or if you did not have or had not obtained whatever it is that you said would make you happy, what was it that allowed you to experience happiness? Why in that moment did you experience happiness, when you're now saying that my happiness is only going to be achieved or experienced when I have whatever? And then of course the flip side of that is, I think we've all had that situation when we say, I'll be happy when, and then all of a sudden that when, and when I say when, it's whatever that might be, whatever experience it is you're looking for, whatever title, whatever material possession, whatever person you want to have in your life, whatever relationship that you're trying to create. And you'll say, I'll be happy when I have that. And then we get to that point of having that. And then we recognize that the happiness is not attached to it. Now, there may be happiness initially, and that happiness might come as a result of the achievement. Not so much of the fact that we have whatever that is, but the fact that we've achieved it. We said, this is what we're going after, and we got it. Now we could be happy that we got it. Maybe it's a sense of relief, and we're confusing that sense of relief with happiness. The relief that we're no longer having to struggle to get whatever it is that we're trying to get, that we're relieved, and it's letting go. And we experience what we think is happiness at that point in time, only to find that maybe that new title you got is going to create more difficulties in your life, which is going to push happiness further and further away from your daily lived experience. Or maybe that relationship that you've been hoping for, and you get into this relationship and you're looking at the relationship from afar initially. Now you're in the relationship and you realize that the dynamics of you and this other person are not what you thought they were going to be, or that they changed after the relationship became a little bit more serious, and all of a sudden you're not experiencing the happiness you thought this relationship was going to bring you. Now, that's not to say that the experience of being in a relationship is not going to bring you happiness. People find true happiness within a relationship. But I think the happiness comes not from being in the relationship, but in being themselves, fully being themselves, allowing themselves to be, and the other person allowing you to be who you truly are, and having that as your experience, that full and true expression of your truth. Now, getting back to this whole idea of being attached to something, or thinking that we have to achieve something to have that experience of happiness, I want you to think about something for a second. Let's say that you have a title, whatever it is. You could be a vice president, you could be the president, you could be the CEO of a corporation. And while you're at work, people treat you a certain way. They show you a certain level of respect to your face. Now, maybe behind the scenes there's other stuff going on, but that's just the way life is. But let's say they show you a certain level of respect. They yes sir you, yes ma'am you, whatever the case may be. And they just treat you in a different way. They hold you in high esteem. They hold you in a position of authority. But let's say you leave the office, and let's say you go home first, you put on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, and you're meeting some friends at a bar. And when you walk into the bar, your title is not apparent. You're not in the environment that would give someone the idea or support the idea that you are this upper level management person or the CEO. So you walk into the bar and you're interacting with your friends, and you're not attached to your title. You're not thinking about, oh, I'm a CEO and my friends need to treat me a certain way. No, you're interacting with your friends in the way that you would normally interact with your friends. You're laughing, you're joking, maybe you're having a drink, maybe you're just goofing around, maybe you're thinking about things that happened as you all were growing up, and whatever the case may be, but you're no longer that CEO in anybody's eyes. And maybe they disrespect you, not because they're trying to be disrespectful, but that's what friends do. We say things about each other, we criticize each other, or we goof around with each other in a way that could be considered disrespectful by people looking on. Well, maybe in that situation you're really happy, and yet your happiness before was tied to the fact that you are the CEO or president or whatever it is, the title that you held with that company. But now you're in a bar, you're in jeans, you're in a t-shirt, you're just laughing, you're joking, you're having a good time with your friends, and the title is no longer existent. How does that happiness come to surface? What is it that would allow that to be the experience you're having in that moment? Well, the point that I'm trying to make, and I'm not going to belabor this, is that happiness is always here. It always resides within us. It's up to us to get out of our own way. It's up to us to determine what it is that is denying us that experience of true happiness. It's up to us to not become attached to titles, people, dogma, rules, regulations, all of those things that we feel we have to do. And that blocks what we truly want to do, which is to experience happiness. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying we shouldn't follow rules and do certain things, because society does dictate that we do that to be safe, to I don't want to say fit in, because I don't want anybody to feel that there is a way that we have to fit in. But the rules of society, of politeness, of respect, all come into play here. And we can certainly experience happiness within the context of all of that. But what I'm talking about is don't become attached to it so that we say that unless I have this, I won't have this experience. And in the case of what we're talking about, the experience of happiness. I appreciate you being here today, taking a few minutes with me. Hopefully this has shed a little bit more light on the whole experience of happiness and really what it is that we are each here trying to experience as ourselves and through ourselves in this crazy world that does everything in its power to deny us that opportunity for that full expression of happiness. Although I will say it's not the universe, it's not this world that's denying us that experience. It's we who deny ourselves that experience. Get out of your own way. Allow yourself to be all that you are. Enjoy the full expression of yourself. And I guarantee you, you will be truly happy. I'm Jim Phillips. This has been Java with Jim. Until next time, be well and be happy. Bye now.